Hi, I'm Thorne Bishop, and welcome to Top Secret Inc. Today we'll be walking through Supergirl Vol.1, issue number 0 by DC Comics. So get comfortable, because it's going to be one hell of a ride. Okay, now we're stepping into issue 3, and this is absolutely wild. We're starting off with Kara wearing some kind of kryptonite gauntlets and chains, because apparently somebody thought it was a brilliant idea to give her Kryptonian power dampening jewelry during training. She's going toe-to-toe with Grace from The Outsiders, and let me tell you, Grace with her braided hair and all those tattoos looks absolutely amazing. They're duking it out in what looks like The Outsiders' headquarters training area, which is basically a warehouse because apparently every superhero team operates out of an abandoned industrial building. Now, here's the kicker. Even with the kryptonite handcuffs supposedly weakening her, Supergirl is still managing to knock Grace down on her butt into some boxes and making her look like a complete amateur. I mean, come on, Grace. You're getting outclassed by someone who literally is wearing a power-suppressing device. That's like losing a race while your opponent is running in cement shoes. But wait, it gets better because Thunder decides to jump down from the rafters with what can only be described as the cheapest of cheap shots. She lands on Supergirl's back and start gloating she's won the lottery or something, saying Supergirl will never be able to catch her off guard because she has the power to manipulate density and increase her weight. Thunder's basically turned himself into a human anvil sitting on Supergirl's back, thinking she's all clever in that. Well, Supergirl in a fit of rage manages to toss Thunder off like she's flicking away a bug and knocks her against a warehouse wall. Then, in what I can only describe as pure unadulterated anger, Supergirl manages to destroy the kryptonite restraints. Just straight up shatters them. Grace starts completely losing it because Supergirl shouldn't be able to break those kryptonite training chains. I mean, the whole point of the kryptonite is that it's supposed to weaken Kryptonians, but apparently Supergirl just didn't get the memo. Grace comes up from behind in the air, probably thinking she's got the element of surprise, but Supergirl's having none of it. She's like, nope, not this time, and uses her freeze breath to stop Grace in mid-flight. It's like hitting the pause button on someone's aerial assault. Thunder tries to get another cheap shot in with a punch right in Supergirl's face because apparently she hasn't learned her last lesson about picking fights with angry Kryptonians. Supergirl responds with a double overhead hammer fist that pummels Thunder right into the ground. Thunder looks at her square in the eyes, laughing, and says, "I didn't even feel that." Which is probably the worst thing you could say to someone who's already seeing red. Supergirl's eyes start glowing with heat vision and starts burning a circular hole around Thunder in the warehouse floor. Thunder, with her density manipulation, falls through the floor into the lower level of the building like we were watching an old Looney Tunes cartoon. Meanwhile, there's apparently a sniper up in the rafters with a liquid kryptonite bullet aimed right at Supergirl's head. I can't confirm this, but he kinda looks like Arsenal or Roy William Harper Jr., which would make sense because apparently everyone in the DC universe has access to specialized anti-Kryptonian ammunition these days. Just as things are about to get really messy, the doors to the warehouse open and there's only someone's silhouette visible. This mysterious figure throws something in the air that manages to hit Arsenal, stop his attack on Supergirl. We find out that it was Nightwing. But of course it was Nightwing. The guy shows up everywhere like he's the Batman universe's equivalent of a postal worker. Here's where we learn that this was just a training session that got completely out of hand in the Outsiders' headquarters. Nightwing slowly removes what's left of the Kryptonian restraining cuffs, and immediately Supergirl looks at Nightwing's face and for the first time is completely smitten with him. In front of the whole team, without any hesitation whatsoever, she flies up to him and gives him a big whopping kiss. Talk about some kind of high school crush behavior. Then, completely embarrassed by her own actions, she flies out of the headquarters like she's fleeing the scene of a crime. Starfire chases her down because apparently someone needs to have a talk with Supergirl about appropriate workplace behavior. Mid-flight, Supergirl apologizes for kissing Stargirl's boyfriend, which is probably the most awkward apology in superhero history, but then a laser falls out of the sky and hits Starfire right in the chest, actually passing right through her chest. Starfire loses control and starts falling out of the sky like a broken airplane. The next scene shows us Lex Luthor standing on top of a mountain with Supergirl. Remember that gauntlet with the 4 stones on it in the last issue? Well, he ends up zapping her with the green kryptonite rock from that very gauntlet. Supergirl is now on the ground in pain, completely subdued because apparently kryptonite actually works when it's not being used in a training exercise. As Supergirl's weakened, he grabs her by the throat with his power armor and gives her a little speech about the villain Darkseid. He wants to know what Superman did with him when he flew out to space. Supergirl tries to use her heat vision against him, but that doesn't seem to work because his power armor has some kind of shield protecting him. I mean, of course it does. Lex Luthor didn't become a supervillain by being unprepared by Kryptonian retaliation or something like that. Supergirl, still in a weakened state from the kryptonite, takes a few punches to the head from Lex and collapses to the ground. She's breathing and not unconscious, but she's definitely not having a good day. This is when Lex points his gauntlet at her and she's lying on the floor and he exposes her to the black kryptonite rays. She screams in agony, screaming in a pain like never before. And this is where things get absolutely bonkers. We see the physical separation happening. There's like a second Supergirl escaping from our hero's teenage body. She's wearing an all-black outfit that matches Supergirl's costume, only replacing the blue with the black. And apparently the black-clad Supergirl isn't a fan of Lex Luthor either, which should make for some very interesting family dynamics here.